So y'all may not know this, but recently, me and the boys been off that Jojo pack. Alright? And y'all also may not know this, but recently we've been off that One Piece pack. That got me to thinking. What's something similar, something shared between both Jojo and One Piece? Something they won't shut the fuck up about. Well, that's the nature of a little thing called inherited will. So yes, this was spurred on by the recent announcement of my favorite JoJo part. Yes, I'm a fucking freak. Don't get mad at me though. So, here we are, chilling. Day is April 4th. As this is being recorded, it's not being recorded, or I should say released, until the next day. Now, here's the issue. My idea was, if part 6 got announced, I'd release a video every day of this month. I'm a little bit underprepared, but we're still gonna work with it. I also had a One Piece video planned, but that doesn't matter. It's JoJo month now. It's JoJo season, baby. All April. Y'all know what the fuck is going on. But first video is starting with something that's very shared between the two of them. And I figured it would be a great way to start off this event, right? And that is inherited will. What the fuck does it mean? What is this phrase that's being thrown around? Is this a fucking anime buzzword? Could be, who knows. But what I know is that the meaning behind it is kind of fucking cold. So, what is it? Well, let's split this situation into two halves so that we can take a proper look at a sort of form of the concept of inherited will, but shared between both series. So, on one half, you have One Piece. Beginning of the series, Luffy starts his journey. Monkey D. Luffy has the will of D. The concept is, as long as a D exists, there will be somebody to carry on the will of another pre-existing D when they die. Kind of. There's also other situations in which inherited will is carried, like Luffy carrying on Odin's will and Zoro carrying on Odin's will. They both kind of represent two halves of that. Or, better example, like I said, beginning of the series, there's Goldie Roger, dies. Monkey D. Luffy becomes, starts his journey to become King of the Pirates, right? And as time goes on, you see that he is in fact carrying the will of Roger. Then, the other half of the situation, let's look at Jonathan Joestar, the GOAT. And if y'all don't like Jonathan Joestar, I got a whole video for y'all ass coming soon. I don't know exactly when. I'm recording these only a day in advance. But basically, Jonathan, after beating a hair nigga, because I forgot his name, fucking gets his sword. And he writes, the whole meme, the luck plug thing. But that's a more physical representation of inherited will. He's physically handing him something. But also his will is going with that. It's the will to keep on moving forward, obviously. And that's what pushes Jonathan into his fight with Tarkus? Is it Tarkus? I don't fucking remember. Big nigga. And because this is irrelevant information. This is just to establish the ground. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So you get them in their fight, and then a better representation of inherited will in JoJo comes immediately in the scene after that, which is when William Zappelli dies, has to physically give Jonathan his powers, and it causes Jonathan to carry on the will of Zappelli. Look, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. It's such a simple concept to grasp, but it means so much, yet it means nothing. It's so strange. So, with that information, What are we doing? Why am I supposed to care about inherited will? What does it mean for the series as a whole in terms of either One Piece or JoJo's? I'm getting to that. You fucking don't rush me, okay? I don't make videos. I don't do this, all right? But you know, considering that the big JoJo reveal event that announced Part 6 was named the Inherited Soul event or some shit, I figured y'all would realize that this is kind of important. But regardless, that is an introduction as to what inherited will looks like / is, because it's you carrying on the will of the past, you know, whatever predecessor came before you. It doesn't have to be an ancestor, it just has to be somebody with a connection to you in some way, shape, or form. Whether you make that connection or they make that connection, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're able to continue carrying their will into a new era, so to speak. Speaking of a new era and getting slightly off track for a second, it's almost like JoJo Part 6 was just announced. I know I talked about that at the beginning of the video, but I would just like to reiterate, you know, it's Stone Ocean all day, baby. As represented by these images of me going into my friend's Discord filled with numerous niggas I've never met before in my life. Fucking, there were 8 people in the call. I joined. I only knew 2 of them, but I had to join. I said my piece and I left. And you'll see the images on the screen right now of the interactions I held and may potentially regret because I wasn't in a proper mind state when sending said messages, because I was living off of the hype of the JoJo announcement and then immediately reading the One Piece chapter immediately afterwards, in which Zoro was the coldest character in the series. But regardless, so back on track. Well, before we get back on track, come on, guys. It's Dripper John. I got a Stone Ocean on my neck and not a Stone Free, okay? Y'all know what it is. It's Part 6 season, baby. And if y'all ain't with this shit, y'all don't even know about it. Y'all don't even know about it. So, back on track. When it comes to inherited will, why is this concept so unique to these 2 series? And, you know, it does exist in other media in some way, shape, or form. It's honestly a concept that even technically exists in real life. It's what makes it so interesting, is it is connected to something real, something tangible. Whether it be, you know, you carrying on a family's plan, which I don't think you should do because that feels like it's forced upon you, but in theory, right? Let's say, you know, your family is like, we want you to become a doctor, you end up becoming a doctor. You're inheriting the will of your family. Or in more literal sense, when somebody in your family dies, you inherit a will, you know? But obviously those are kind of not in the same vein. Those are artificial, in a sense. Those aren't what it physically means to inherit somebody's will. Those are tangible, yes, but those don't signify anything. Those aren't significant. Inherited will is something that spans eras, generations, as previously stated. It means a lot, yet it means nothing. Because truly inheriting somebody's will, for lack of a better word, isn't tangible. And that's what makes it so unique to JoJo and One Piece, is the way they represent it. And that is the concept of people who have never met or never known each other carrying the will of each other, right? For example, in One Piece, Goldie Roger carries the will of Joy Boy. He's never met Joy Boy. And now Luffy does the same. They've never met Joy Boy. He existed 400, 500, 600, 8,000, 12,000, 20,000 years before them, fucking 30,000 years before him, you know? Whenever the fuck it was. And in JoJo, there's obviously people carrying the wills of their predecessors, obviously, you know, their ancestors that they've never met. Jotaro's never heard of Jonathan before, and yet he manages to keep that will in family, keep that will on the line, keep it going like a conveyor belt. And so it's the way that it's presented as something that's not tangible, yet something that's so strong in these series that makes it so special. It's the fact that that will itself is both literally and metaphorically strength. And that's why the concept of inherited will being shared between these two series in the way that it is so interesting to me. So at the end of it, I know that this isn't a super heavy video. There's not a lot of information. I'm not super analytical. I'm not going into detail. That's whatever is fine. I just wanted to talk about this. It's just something interesting I noticed is the similarities between these two series. I don't think I need to overstay my welcome and explain the concept, because obviously it's not a huge concept. Like, it's a huge concept meaning and like what it is, but it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. This is my first time recording a video like this, I guess. Something with a little bit more thought put into it. It's not a super huge video, like I said. Not gonna be super long. This will probably end up being like 12-13 minutes at most. But I just thought it was interesting and neat. Two of some of my favorite shonen, comparing possibly one of the biggest things that they share in common. And they both have that same thing mean a lot in their story. And they're both stories in which will is both literally and metaphorically strength. Like I said, you know, with hockey being a power and the concept of stands being all of your basically stats put together in terms of like spiritually and mentally. I think it's a cool concept. I'm probably talking really fast and I'm saying a lot. I'm not used to this, but I feel like I got the point across. I won't keep y'all waiting any longer. It's been your boy, Young Kilmer, A.K.A. the man who carries the will of the thousands, A.K.A. the mad scientist extraordinaire, A.K.A. Nick. And I'll see you later.